Starting off with the Arborian. This is a paid for race, and they're shit. They're just shit. They have heat weakness. They do regen in the sun. They have a health buff, but they just the regen you get from this race is so minuscule that it does not matter. You also don't heal from regen in shade, and this doesn't even work in tundra. And it doesn't even work in Badlands either because the heat weakness of the race makes you take more of the dot damage from the climate, and so counteract the sun regen. The 15% boost in health is okay, but it's really nothing. Like, it's barely anything. Like, humans have 10%, and they have none of these debuffs. And they don't have sun regen, but like this doesn't even work most of the time. Next, Dark Elves. I'm gonna put Dark Elves at C tier because they're very good for hex builds, but that's all they're tailored to. You only go Dark Elf if you're planning to go hex build. They get like -1 starting reputation. They get +10 hex boost in defense. So they're good for hex. That's all they're for. Dragon Blood. Most tier lists would put this at D or C or B, but I went over this in a past video. This is probably the best free-to-play race. This is the best race you can pick as a free-to-play player. And if you wanna understand more in detail why, you go watch my other video. I'll put it in the description. But basically, the best way I can put it quickly is that the Draco Guild is extremely underrated, and it is very easy to get. In my opinion, it's one of the best guilds in the game. And the starting buffs that you get on Dragon Blood aren't that different, and aren't even that bad compared to something like Half Work. Except Half Work doesn't even get the free guild at level 60. Next, Elves. I'm going to put them, usually they're around C tier, but I'll put them low B. Reason giving is that the walk speed's underrated as fuck. And when I first started this game, I abused Elves to I wanted to check out all of the tier 1 upgrades for the weapons. So I ran Elf every single time to run around and do the quests until I learned that farming bunnies was better. But the speed increase is very nice. It undoes some of the debuffs that you'll get from wearing heavy armor if you're running a melee build. But the buffs that you get from it don't really benefit melee builds, like the magic defense and magic boost. And the magic defense and magic boost is so like small that you won't even notice it. So I'm gonna put them at, actually I'll put them right next to Dark Elves. They're very situational and they don't really offer much. And yeah, they're just very finicky. They don't really do much they don't do really anything good. Next, Half Work. We're just gonna put this at A. Pretty much same as here. I'll put that low. Oh, can you not? There you go. That's low C. I'll put this low A. This is basically a little bit more damage and everything. Every buff that this gets a little bit more of. Except this doesn't have actually, wait, it would make sense if I put it like this. There we go. My bad. This does not get the Dragon Guild, but this does. Except it has a little worse early starting stats, but you need to take into consideration that races, their starting stats, unless you're getting one of the pay for races, they don't really do much, except one race. Next, This is the what is this? High elf. This is a high elf. They get, honestly, for the paid race, I'm gonna put this at D tier because compared to these races, yes, you get far more. You get an insane amount of like magic off boost. It's like 25%. But you need to understand that there's no way you're gonna grind till 60 on a high elf as a mage. There's no way. You get negative 25 physical defense. Do you know how shit that is? You're literally a walking glass cannon. I don't know how high elves who are mages even get into Tundra. I really don't. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how people who are high elves even get into Tundra to begin with, or even get to the village, because winter wolves are going to eat your ass. They're just going to munch on you for dinner, and you can't do anything about it. High elf is the worst paid for race besides Arborians. I'm not putting them at F tier because these are really good for magic builds, but I don't know how you're going to make it to late game with a high elf. I just don't know. I don't know how you have the patience for that. That's what I'm trying to put. Like, this is like playing Dark Souls for no reason. You're paying to play Dark Souls in Voxlblade if you buy this race. Next, human. I'm putting them at B tier. Honestly, they'll probably be one of the only races at B tier. This race is actually pretty good. It's extremely underrated. I don't think people understand just how good the 15 looting you get is and the 10 health. 10 health has saved my ass countless times, and the 15 looting has made the leveling and grinding experience way better. The looting buffs your EXP, and it also buffs the loot that you get from mobs. And I've gotten a lot of good stuff because of this looting buff. It's helped a lot actually in my my playthrough on my level 60 poison dagger human. This is a pretty good race. I'd say this is if you don't know what to pick, this is your go-to race, honestly. If you don't know what starter race to pick and you're a new player, you don't want to buy any of these expensive races that have some retarded buffs, then just go this. Honestly. I don't see anything wrong with this. Next, Insurepes, Insepares, or whatever they're called. This is the tester race. This obviously goes at S tier. They get just 8% flat damage buff and defense. That's so huge. Universal flat damage buff. That's big. Like, I don't think people realize that. That's really big. Like, this is probably going to stay at top S tier. Plus the heat and cold resistance, really good for when you're just going into Tundra. The extra heat and cold resistance is actually going to save your ass. I don't know how much extra they get, but it's enough for where I've seen the difference. And the damage buff is also noticeable. Next, Katsuri's Furry Race. I'd put them at F tier because I don't like furries, but I'm making a proper tier list. This honestly also goes at S tier. They get like 20% movement speed base, which is retarded. Like, that's actually just stupid. I don't know. They should nerf that. Honestly, that's way too much. They get a jump boost, and they get physical damage. They get 7% physical damage. You get one less than Inseparate or whatever it's called. And actually, hold up. I'm putting this for now at top S tier. This is actually retarded. This race is so stupid. I don't know why this is. This should get some nerf to the movement speed and the jump boost. This makes just parkouring over Tundra and questing way easier. Like, you can, if you have full bunny set with this, it's like you're having like slightly shitty running boots on for free just by your passive. The physical damage is noticeable, and the jump boost is really helpful. This race is just dumb. I don't like it. I don't know. It's just like 20% movement speed? That's overkill. Like, elves have 10%. That's already like a lot, but they don't have any of these good buffs that like actually like do anything. The jump boost, I guess you could say, is kind of useless, but like 7% physical damage? Like you'll see the difference. Yeah, this race is good. I don't like it though. Next and last. This is orc, just the full orc. This is honestly here. Best race. Just best race. Hands down. Actually best race. Like they get so much extra damage and they get 12 physical defense, physical damage, and I think I don't know how much. Pretty sure it's either 5 or 15 health, extra health. They're hated, but it doesn't matter anymore because as an orc you can sleep at the. They finally added. It used to matter because in Tundra there wasn't a house or an inn for orcs to sleep in at a halfway point because they're hated. So you can't sleep at the inn that everyone usually does, and so traversing the tundra was way harder. But now that they added that into Tundra, there's like no downside. As an orc, you can still sleep at the starter inn, desert inn, and the rainy inn. I know that, and the Tundra inn now that they added it. So there's no downside to this at all. Hated doesn't do anything. Yep. So yep, that's the list. I'll go over it again. Arborian F tier, dog shit. Don't even buy this. If you bought this, like, I don't know what. Like you like there's like 5 tier lists and like no matter how bad some of them are, they all put this at like F or D tier. Like you should understand by now that you should never buy this race. High elf, this is also like you just shouldn't unless you're going magic and if you're okay, here I'll add something. If you hit 20 on this race and you're gonna build holy or not holy, you can just, okay, the best way to level this race, I'll give you a tip. Hit 20, go to the B dungeon, and then go in the Discord and just join people who are doing it, and just leech off them. Hit 60. There, boom. You have your magic build. You don't have to worry about leveling anymore. Done. That's like the only way to like level this race like reasonably, unless you want to take like... Unless you want to die to bunnies. That's basically what you're saying when you buy this race. I would not buy this unless you're cheesing or you have friends that'll help you level it. C tier, high elves and dark elves. Similar, opposite, pretty much opposites. Besides the speed buff that elves have, but these have negative reputation. It's such a negligible amount of negative reputation that it doesn't really do anything. Yeah, these races, mediocre, but they do what they do. Humans, B tier. The looting is actually really nice, extremely underrated. The health is really nice, saves your ass. But they don't really do anything like special. Besides the looting buff, they get like a free game pass basically. That's A tier. Dragon blood and half orc. I'd go Dragon Blood 9 out of 10 times, unless you're planning to do a build where you can't keep the Draco Guild. They just seem superior in every way. I mean, people don't really think about the late game that much because like the game's new, but like you'll realize that like it's a waste of time to level a half orc if you don't plan to go any special guild compared to just leveling a Dragon Blood, and then just getting the Draco Guild. This guild's broken. Go watch my other video and I'll explain why. S tier. In Serpre, I mean, it's the tester race. Makes sense. Why? The heat cold resistance good. Damage buff. Defense buff good. Katsuri. This race is fucking broken. Nerf it. I don't know why this race is better than the tester race. Like, nerf the movement speed and jump boost. That's just retarded. They just get to speed run the early game. They get to speed run the whole game. My bad. I've seen so many people with this race just nerf it already. And orc, I mean, they got the buff they needed. Now they're just like the best race for physical classes, and I think they're pretty good for tanks too. It's just because, I mean, like, these buffs are huge, and the only downside they're hated, but you can sleep at almost every inn in the game with orc. Yep. Well, that's the tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave your feedback. Don't dislike the video if you don't agree. Just tell me, just rant to me in the comments about what race you think belongs where, why. Just don't dislike the video, bro. I've been looking at these videos and people are just disliking them because they don't agree. And like, yeah, some of these videos are retarded, but like, you gotta understand, like, the game's new. People just don't know what they're talking about yet, you know? Yep. Well, hope you liked the video, and just leave feedback, like, and subscribe for more. I'm probably gonna make more of these really shitty, like, low effort videos because, hey, that's where the view's at. But yeah.